Hi everyone, welcome to Popcast Live. My name is John. I'm joined by Andrea. How's it going?
Good to see you. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Tonight is a little different than normal. Our technical director, Alan, is not around right now. But we thought it was pretty important to get going on some hot tea coverage, some House of the
Indeed.
Dragon. Yeah. Whoa. My world's just
I know. I flip myself, so at least it looks like I'm looking at you, because it was too weird to be like, oh, John.
Right. Oh, should I be? Let's see. Not.
There we go. Now we're having a convo.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. There we are. Well, if you're a viewer, not just a listener, and typically these shows, these Popcast Live shows, I say that even though it's like 2 weeks in a row. Typically, these don't go to the podcast feeds. They're just for watching on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, because then we can kind of go anywhere we want. We can show different things, and we don't have to rely on like making sure we fill the space with sound and describe everything and whatever. But we're going to do this a little closer to the regular show, and that we're just talking about a subject like this. But we're skipping all the extra fun stuff, drink holidays, other things we've been watching, and like getting straight to the dragon heart of it. So
I see what you did there.
Yeah, and so that's what it's going to be tonight. I will probably put this one on to podcast directories, so you can subscribe to us there. Just getting Popcast on the Rocks. I'm still trying to make sure that this gets like clear and clarified.
Sure.
Because like our intro right now just still says Popcast on the Rocks. I need to have a separate intro for Popcast Live and whatever. But we'll get there. Slower is better than never, right?
Indeed. Slow but steady.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, with that little bit of stuff out of the way, House of the Dragon's back. House of the Dragon's back. Season 3. Andrea, are you excited?
Having watched the first 2 episodes, I'm absolutely excited. I know when we've talked about it briefly on previous, podcast episodes, that we were gonna watch it, or we've texted about it and being a little nervous for the season. Obviously, we already know some things that have departed from George R.R. Martin's original, storytelling, original vision for this particular saga. But I mean, so far, I feel like the risk taking has paid off in 2 really, pardon the pun, hot episodes. Hot D episodes to start off our. I mean, I will say my enthusiasm doesn't extend to thinking like everything was, amazing, or that, I wasn't gut punched by some of the events of the first 2 episodes, so I'm not just like, oh, I'm riding a high, so cool, but the episodes were really, really good, I thought, and some very fine acting. So far, I see no weak plot points that could play out differently as the season goes on, but strong start to season 3.
Okay.
So cheers to that.
You got a little like tin cup there. What are you doing with? So I would say mule, but it's not copper.
It's not. No.
Are we going like derby style, like a julep?
Nope. Going medieval.
Okay.
In honor, pouring one out in honor of the many characters we've already lost. Spoilers right away. But one of my favorite, Sir Simon Strong. I was watching the second episode after Damon's victory, and he's like, your finest wine for the fighters, right? A tribute. And he felt like a cross between Friar Tuck, bringing wine and ale to Robin Hood and his band of merry men. But then his voice always reminds me of Sir Alec Guinness. So I was like, it's like a weird cross between
Interesting.
Friar Tuck and the sound of Ben Kenobi. But yeah, I thought it was lovely that he brought them all the mead and the ale and the wine. And they were pouring one out for their fallen soldiers at the Battle of the Gullet. So cheers.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Cheers.
I've got a glass of honey mead.
Nice. All right. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. That's not a name.
Listen.
Okay. I'll have
listen to his voice. Like you'll see what I mean. Like it's not obviously an exact copy, but just like something about the Tim reminds me of, when they're really playing up the Ben Kenobi angle for Alec Guinness.
Sure. Okay. Very nice. Well, I don't have anything here to drink. I could probably find something suitable. Maybe in a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, there's plenty of characters to pour one out for in these first 2 episodes. There is devastation afoot.
Yeah, I was gonna have the other day one of my remaining Game of Thrones whiskeys, and I have realized that I no longer have any remaining Game of Thrones whiskeys. They're indeed empty. So all I have is cool empty bottles and tubes that they're in. So
for sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, like you say, there's a little hesitancy, concern leading up to just based on some of the things we'd heard about this season. But you're right. I think that not that want people to get in it, or they'll do it anyways, to get in the habit of like changing something that's already done, because that's the bigger crime here. Is this book is already written? At least there was an excuse with Game of Thrones, like we don't know how this is gonna end. What should we do?
True. You had to make up something.
Yeah,
there wasn't anything.
So I don't know. I believe I heard now that they're intending to wrap this up in 4 seasons. So we'll get one more season after this. So I like that.
That's what I've heard.
Size, that cadence, that's nice.
Compact.
Yeah. So to me, that at least says you have your end in mind. You know where things are going, so things should kind of fall into place. And you're saying, you're not feeling like there's plot holes and some of that. The one thing that and it's maybe wherever we want to start talking about it specifically, I guess. Sure. I think of when Jace locks Rhaenyra up, and then the head of the guard allows this and follows through. Yeah. So
I think we could start there, because I think from my understanding, there are 2, there could be more, but what I know of right now, there are 2 plot points that are changed within our first couple of episodes. And one is Jace locking Rhaenyra up, and then going to fight in the Battle of the Gullet in her stead. And like you said, her Queen's Guard complying and being like, no, we're going to keep you here. And there's like a different reason, because from the book, it's that Jace is going with the other dragon seeds, and they're going to rescue his little brother Viserys, who has been captured by the Triarchy. So that's my understanding of like that change.
Okay.
Which I don't love.
Sure.
I mean, it's in effect the same thing, like the same basic events of Jace goes to the Battle of the Gullet. Jace miscalculates and unfortunately dies. Those basic events are represented. It's the motivations behind them that are different.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't love it.
How different could this event look had we not had sheep stealer, yeah, come in and ruin the day. I mean, it's, there were still close calls, but things seemed to be, they're figuring out like, hey, we gotta watch out for these guys. We're gonna get harpooned, all this sort of thing. And
yeah,
I mean, we're looking at it now. We're like, God, what a stupid decision, hot-headed.
Yep.
Why would you do this? But on the other hand, would this have been Rhaenyra? Would we have just swapped positions? It could have very well been the queen that's now dead, and this uprising attempted, set things straight is done for. Because that was something that Jay said is like, if you're dead, then this whole thing is dead. Like no one will accept me as a ruler, as a replacement,
yeah.
When you haven't ruled,
I do agree with Jace there. I think that Rhaenyra is overly optimistic in thinking like, well, I've made Jace be the crown prince and everybody will just turn to him as king. Like, no, everybody is like fine with your like open secret of like, he isn't a full Targaryen. We all know his lineage isn't pure or whatever.
Yeah.
However much that really matters, that debate set aside. She is wildly over optimistic about the fact that like Jace could just like slide into her place. So I do agree with Jace there. And then the other thing I think about this choice is, looking at the aftermath of Jace's death, looking at Rhaenyra's grief, it's so much more intensified by the fact that like she is, distraught that she didn't go. So I think that locking her up and preventing her from doing anything and then like rendering her, feeling 1,000 times more helpless in the face of the death of her child is actually a really strong plot point for her, even though I think it's unfortunate that it takes away from some of Jace's motivation, and his kind of heroics from the book, and going to try to save his little brother from the Triarchy. Instead, we just get like, I don't think you can trust anything that's going to happen and I need to fight in your stead and we can't lose you. It's a little bit less noble of Jace, even though I get where he's coming from.
Right.
But like I said, I think it serves the plot point of like Rhaenyra, then, and her like rage and her grief that we see displayed brilliantly by Emma Darcy in the next episode.
Mm-hmm. But so don't love this path as much, but you buy it, you believe it.
I buy it. Like I said, I think I do. We've seen Jace do this kind of stuff before, especially in the show, and he feels, gotta love him, but he feels like hot-headed enough. Like they've built up his character and his kind of, his choices to lean this way. So I see it a lot. All he wants to do is protect his mom. He really just is convinced that he's super powered and invincible. Not to say he isn't scared, because I think you can see a little bit of that like childish fear when he convinces Bela to go with him. He doesn't want to totally go alone. He definitely feels braver with her with him. Mm-hmm. But I think there's definitely an aspect of like, maybe I'll be even more heroic with her here. I don't think there's any way he conceives that he could die. Just no way.
Sure. Okay. Well, yeah, I think I generally agree. I think I think the hardest part would be with the, her guard. What choice does he make there? That's, I can see someone being good at the same time. I buy it either way.
It was a little harder to watch that one, to see him betray Rhaenyra, because he's not young, he's not hot-headed. That's his queen, not his mother. And as much as he wants to protect his queen, you know, I think that as a guard, you just have to step aside sometimes. Just be like, I mean, she has to go to battle at some point, so let's just make it the best we can. Not, I'm going to
Sure.
lock her in a tower like a little doll.
Yeah, I know. So you mentioned it now about Emma doing such a great job with Rhaenyra here, particularly the next episode. I had made note of that too. It's just like that was a phenomenal scene. You know, there's lots of scenes of like someone dies and there's, you know, some weeping or there's a crying out or whatever, but they took time and like let the camera sit on her and just
build that.
It was really good. I mean, I felt the uncomfortableness when she's like calling out to him, and really, really great, really well done. And just not, I mean, that just really stands out. Is like, but the other bits too, you know, it's very nuanced performance here so far. You know, they like, so she's locked in and she has this sort of tantrum and freak out. And you see her assistant, her confidant now, like, oh man, what are you doing? She's like ripping apart the clothes and stuff and tearing. And I don't know. There's a real like, I don't know, a frailty and vulnerability and desperation about her performance. You know, it's, I don't know. It's just a nuance. She's a nuanced character at this point, and it's going to be interesting to see where she goes. I mean, even her approach to the Iron Throne. You know, that whole scene of like, I'm going to behead someone. And like the hesitancy, the unknowingness, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know. It's just, it could be a very one note. Like I am meant to be queen. I'm gonna, you know, like I'm very confident in all this stuff. I know what I'm doing. You know, kind of. It's just not that. It's more complicated, and I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I think Emma Darcy's just really, really been killing it as Rhaenyra in these last few seasons. You know, I was hesitant when they did the age up from Millie Alcock. I really liked her original, you know, portrayal of Rhaenyra. And I felt Emma Darcy was a little flatter when we began. And I think that, you know, she's really taken Rhaenyra's character to this gorgeously nuanced place. She's had so much to deal with. I can't imagine just being a wreck as often as she has. And she's made her grief different each time that she's lost somebody on the show, whether it's her father, it's her, you know, her miscarried daughter, as she's, you know, giving birth in the middle of a battle. Right. It's Luke. Now it's Jace. You know, she's obviously lost other people, but even Alicent to an extent, you know, she does such a great job in her devastation, her rage, like you said, her impotence in, you know, like what can she do? She's just desperate to do something. So I think she's given all of those scenes like really different portrayals and really different flavors, even though they're similar emotions. But yeah, like you said too, her approach to the Iron Throne, like the culmination of all of this work to get her here. And it's still so much work to get to that Iron Throne. She doesn't just walk in the throne room. She goes through 20 different scenarios on her way, just like walking to the throne itself. You know, she's got to fight. Oh, now she has allies. Oh, now she's got Alicent Hightower. I mean, spoiler. but she's got Allison Hightower's dad. Oh, she now has to kill her friend's dad. Is she going to do it? Is she going to let Damon do it? You know, and even as she decides to do it, I feel like you go through like, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it. Oh my God, I can't do this. Like, you know, you just see the realness of all of these emotions, because I imagine as myself, like I too would be wavering in my own belief in my ability after all she's been through. And you think like 1 minute, of course I can do it, I'm born to rule. And the next minute you're faced with like, I'm going to cut a guy's head off. Not only a guy, but like my friend's dad. Like, should I do it? Should I not do it? She gave up a bunch for me and her whole plan worked, but he's still my enemy and I can't really show weakness. Like, girlfriend has to deal with 20 different emotions in the span of 10 seconds. And I think Emma Darcy just really gives a stellar performance in displaying all of that without being overdone or without, like you say, hiding too much or playing it too one note in terms of her own confidence. Mm-hmm. So that is a soliloquy that I have delivered to our audience. Apologies for my goings on, but really, I can't say enough about her acting with the material she's been given. It's just fantastic.
Yep. Agreed. 100%. And you've gotten a lot of good performances here. I will say, you know, speaking of being in the throne room here and everything now, it reminds me of a point that that stuck out to me, is like how bold some of these plans and moves are. I mean, obviously for Alicent, you know,
yes.
It feels like an act of desperation, I guess.
Absolutely.
You know, to imagine that you could, because on one hand you think, oh, okay, you know, yes, we'll get rid of the kid, eye patch, you know, Aemond, and so the big dragon's gone. I'm here. I'll tell them to open the gates. It's all good. But then when you get down to the minutia of a little bit, you have to be, okay, we're going to go to this guard. Like, would you consider this treason? And then, you know, and then trying to like, hey, they'll listen to the actual queen, not just me. So let's get her involved in this. And I don't want to hurt any living creatures. Those are big gambles so that you can make this work. And then quickly on the flip side with Rhaenyra and just bringing Daemon in with her. Daemon's got to do a lot of heavy lifting here, and then thank the seven, you know, that
clever
that they have, that he's formed the relationship with his men that still holds strong yet.
Yes. What did I write about that? I said Daemon's groundwork at the City Watch was well laid. I mean, obviously it's this season has done some really great work in calling back to some of the early episodes of the series. And I thought exactly about that, you know, like that whole, like Daemon takes over the City Watch and he makes them the gold cloaks, and, you know, he gives them a real sense of purpose, even though at the time as viewers, we were like, God, they're like kind of marauding around and they're not being less than stellar. Like, you know, maybe this isn't such a great thing, but it's paying off in spades here. And then, you know, in our previous episode, I was trying to remember why the leader of the Triarchy hated the sea snakes so much. And then it was like calling back to the very, very, very beginning, you know, couple of scenes where we have Daemon fighting on the stepstones because the Triarchy overstepped into Corlys's shipping lanes and started a war. And Daemon was like, hey, I'll join. I'm going to get some glory and do some stuff for the crown. So, you know, he's killing Crab Feeder and he's wearing the driftwood crown. And I was like, oh yeah, that feels like a million years ago.
It does.
But the episode and that animosity did a great job calling back to some of that early stuff. And I think here, like you're saying, like, thank God we had the gold cloaks and that they still love Daemon from those early episodes, because that was not a great situation for a minute there.
No. So let's see. I'm gonna get. Do you? It's interesting. Just kind of as an aside, bringing that up, how it calls back to some of these things is how far this feels they've come, because that's sort of the side effect of them jumping ahead so often. You know, we really have had a lot of time pass. And I'm going to be excited to, well, assuming this all plays out in a satisfactory way, I'm going to be very excited to rewatch all of this someday. The nice, concise 4 seasons and stuff. That's going to be great.
It'll be fun to do like a not a true binge. I don't think I would ever like binge these, but a closer viewing to kind of put some of these things together. Because like, when we had our Battle of the Gullet and everybody was like, and Lohar was really trying to go after the sea snake, and she's like, I'm going to burn his house down. And everybody's like, damn, you really hate him. And I couldn't remember why. And then I was just like, right. The early episodes. So, yeah.
Yeah. These things, sometimes, a person forgets about that. They really are, I think, mostly designed to be watched all the way through kind of steadily. So, because you will totally miss and forget callbacks and different things. And so need to make priority on some of those things. So speaking of Damon making a good relationship and these connections that held from before, it's fun that came up, because previously I was thinking, this other relationship is going to bite him in the ass. So the witch from
Harrenhal. Yeah, I don't get her.
So it's been a very interesting. Well, firstly, that was one of our complaints of like the last season. It's like Damon's wasting so much time. But he's getting these visions. He's like, can you, shit or get off the pot, like do something, know. And then the mind games that that he was playing with her, with him, it was just, I don't know what was going on there exactly. And so now I'm just thinking, especially what's happened when in Harrenhal now, which is back there, I'm just feeling like, well, Damon had the opportunity to make a real strong allegiance there, someone to swear themselves in as close as you could by like promising, and that's a big ask, promise them Harrenhal, but that might have turned out to be the better choice, given now I keep wanting to say Aegon, but it's not Aegon, it's
Aemond.
Aemond has attacked there with his dragon, and it's now at her. Yeah.
That whole thing is so complicated. Because like you, I was frustrated with this midwife / witch that we had from last season. I got eventually that she was like giving Damon, or like assisting Damon with all of these visions, and they were getting to like the Song of Ice and Fire, and like getting to you need to help Rhaenyra. That's your purpose. You're the cog in this big wheel. But it felt long. It felt drawn out, and it felt complicated. But it felt like eventually we got to like this truce that we're in now. But like you, I was worried about Damon's choice to not give her Harrenhal, even though I felt like I understood where he was like, well, I already have a strong ally there. Sir Simon Strong is the guardian still of Harrenhal. He likes me. He's decent at what he does. What do I need to give it to you for? So I got that he was kind of hedging his bets there. He's like, I'm not going to totally spurn you. I'll give you something. I just can't promise that it's Harrenhal.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know if that's going to be enough for her, but all right, I understand where you're coming from. And then, then we had Aemond land at Harrenhal and basically just be like, oh, hey, look at me. I could be a good target over here. Distraction. So yeah, so I think that all worked out very fortunately for Damon, especially because it seems I keep forgetting that, you know, Aemond and Damon are like analogs for each other. I mean, they just go through so many similar things. They have similar personalities. They've got similar like mommy issues happening. They've got similar battle styles. Now they're literally going through the same motions that they went through at Harrenhal. You know, Aemon's
Right.
crash through the doors and interrupting the Strongs at supper was very Damon.
Yep.
Except now he's made a different choice, unfortunately, to kill the Strongs, which don't be looking too good for him.
Right.
Because he's earned himself both possibly a mortal slash through the ribs, the backside of his ribs, and also the ire of the Witch of Harrenhal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just so much there.
Yep.
I just can't even believe it. Oh, sorry, I just totally missed it. Hi,
Nope.
MJ.
Yeah, MJ is in the chat. Welcome.
Hi, girl.
Been a long time. Have you been watching House of the Dragon, MJ? Let us know if you are. I think you were up on Game of Thrones, but I'm not sure.
Miss you.
That's you should get on that.
Definitely need to see your face soon.
You have no streaming stuff. Well, then you got to pick up the DVDs of like the first 2 seasons. Thankfully, unlike some services for some shows, they still put them on DVDs. And
they do.
So,
just coughing that hint out to the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, last I heard from you, I know you were working on health stuff.
Girl,
that's great.
That's awesome.
Lose some weight. It's perfect.
I hope you're feeling well as well. I mean, I know obviously there's losing weight and feeling more in shape, but also I just know obviously health wise, I hope you're doing so good.
Yeah, and speaking of weight, I've been seeing people compare that Matt Smith having put on weight, kind of trying to bulk up.
Yes, I see that, and I also think they like did some makeup and maybe possibly prosthetic enhancing, like
Really?
a slight build on his chin. Do you know what I mean? Like I just feel like the whole jaw felt fuller, and I couldn't tell if it was truly the result of him bulking up or if they just like. It didn't look bad. I didn't think like, my God, like his face looks different. I just wasn't sure if maybe they were trying to add some fullness to give that impression more in his face. Okay. You know what I mean? He doesn't look different. He doesn't look, like he's had work done or anything. I just thought it's possible.
Well, I intend to try to kind of watch some of the behind the scenes, some of the podcasts and stuff, the official one that they do and everything, and we'll see if anything like that's mentioned at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And another thing, I got something that the closest thing I have up here that is similar to your mead.
Yeah, same color for sure.
It's this Akashi Ume. So it's this like plum wine, plum whiskey.
Oh, there you go.
Plum whiskey, but it's pretty sweet, So it's plum's not honey, but
yeah. Yep, I've got mine's I was looking at the bottle. It's a orange blossom honey mead.
Very nice.
From Camelot Vineyards.
Ready for Renfest now?
I know, right?
We were talking this last weekend about me wanting my long hair back.
Yep.
She says no.
I say yes. Look at styles you could be sporting. I mean, he is serving looks. He's not Jace the face, but he could be definitely like representing on the hair side of things.
Yeah. It's when people talk about good-looking celebrities or people or whatever, Matt Smith is someone that I would bring up because I like people that are unique.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Smith is, when you look at him, he is not just like, oh, look at that model. He's a strange-looking fella, but he's also a sexy man because it's a personality, it's an attitude, it's everything combined with a unique, memorable look, and so
Yep.
all for it. What is this? Oh boy, MJ. As a very straight man, I can still say this. That's what you're oh boying. Look at this. I get one sip.
Right. He's off the deep end.
Player, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Quick, bring a picture of Daniel Craig.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. Where were we? So Damon, his counterpart, and Aemond, and how they're. I did get one. I won't say it here, I guess, because it's
additional spoiler. Do you have?
Yeah, it's not a spoiler that for these 2 episodes, it was in the talk after the show. Did you watch that?
Sure.
After episode
I've only
2?
Watched about half of that. I mean, of course, I saw the preview for the next episode, but I left. Where did I leave off in that post stuff? I think I still had like 4 or 5 minutes left of all of that.
Okay.
And they were just talking about something else at that point. So I
won't say. So it hints where things are going. I wrote in my note. Well, don't look at the end of my notes then, because I wrote a section, and I was like, please don't let this happen. And then they did the after show thing. I was like, shit, they're gonna make this happen. So,
no.
Yeah. But anyways, yes. We kind of got to all that through the bold moves that people were making, and then I wrote his name down so I can freaking remember it. Aemond storming in the Harrenhal, and just the relationships and how Damon's relationships have paid off, but this one may end up biting him. So
if you ever have trouble remembering Aemond, just remember it's an anagram of Damon.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
I just realized that as I was typing,
but maybe
I realized that as I was typing my notes in this episode, because I was talking about like how weirded out I was last season with Damon dreaming about his mom and them like kissing, and then like obviously in our first episode we had the world's most awkward kiss between Alicent and Aemond, and I was typing their names, and then I was like, oh, that's right, they're like an anagram because they're like rivals and foils of each other. And also like I can't get over the grossness of this scene. It's just as gross as Damon's.
but very different, because Damon's is conjured, or he's influenced.
Yes,
he's not a fan of it.
Right. Well, it was like his subconscious. You know, it wasn't even like a real thing because we technically weren't watching 2 actual people do this. Whereas like for Aemond and Alicent, we watched this happen in real time, and they each, were beings with their own free will and autonomy. And Alicent was free to give us the most grossed out face, as she's just like, I can't believe this is happening. I have to let it happen. It's my son. Ew, ew, ew. Which we all were thinking.
So, yeah. Oh, speaking of acting, though, well acted again.
Oh, yeah. Olivia Cook did great.
Yes.
Her facial expression for only seeing like this much of her face.
Yes.
Great work.
Profile. Because the minuscule like pull away, but like the instant brain recognition, I can't. Like, this is gonna happen.
The eye twitches.
Yeah. Yep. So perfect. So perfect.
So good.
Because
so good.
You're in that situation here, and you're like, you're right. You can't recoil in disgust. what's more important, your plan, which hinges
Right.
on your psycho son going to Harrenhal, or you deal with it. And
Right. Or breaking this kiss off that's already happened, like,
yes.
earlier. Saving
So,
yourself those few seconds of lips touching.
So to my understanding, again, this doesn't happen in the book. But I will.
No, I don't think this particular, but I think something similar happens.
Okay.
Where
yeah,
I think she deceives him into kind of doing something. But yeah, that's the other big plot point that's changed. Like Alicent surrendering King's Landing is not in the books as far as I am aware. Like this overarching plan is not.
Okay. Do you love my notes for episode 1?
Yes, so extensive. I really peeked inside your psyche and got a little, got a little insight.
Yes. One line. Yep.
One line.
That's all that needed to be said. I was in it, so I tried to do more on episode 2, but yeah. So that happened. Well played, acting wise, and by in character Alicent. Because if for your plan, that's the right move.
Mm-hmm.
She, I don't know. It's really unfortunate for her in the path that she's been pushed down, and then also the things she's chosen have compounded this, in that the way that she's seemingly seen by other people, because we have her first as a child being groomed to get the family in, to get Hightower family in. And like, she's, a kid, so awareness is mixed on what's going on here. And certainly not thinking, how conniving your father is. Moving into that path, continuing doing the best she can, but then we get her dalliances with what's his face, douche nozzle, that's off.
Oh, Kristen
Cole, and then we see now her son that has mother issues, which we've known of. And so that's where this doesn't come out of nowhere. Though it's shocking, It doesn't come out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
Yes.
And then we have another dude from the council try to rape her. So
yes,
it's not on the sexual front for Alicent. It's been a rough go. Like, for that kind of nature and her being used that way, and then like I say, it's been a rough go.
Yeah. So several things to add there. Starting off with Kristen, he can just get off my screen. He is so boring. I don't see his point at all anymore. He doesn't even seem to care.
You don't like his philosophizing?
Oh God, he was so just like, oh, men are gonna do what they're gonna do. He was so lackluster and so just like, why do you even care to even be part of this? Just go die somewhere. You don't care, doesn't care. Like, boring. The sooner he shuffles off my screen and the mortal coil, the better. He is so over. To the next, unfortunate Aemond and his mom, that I don't think she really meant to make that sexual, but she definitely made mommy issues by consistently choosing Aegon and not recognizing Aemond's talents or his worth beyond being the spare or the second son. So definitely created some mommy issues again. Yeah, definitely didn't see it going in a sexual direction, which is unfortunate for everybody. But yeah, unfortunately isn't blameless there. And let's not forget her unfortunate feet watching from Laris.
Oh yes,
You
I
know,
totally forgot
poor
about that.
lady. Yeah,
I
had this
remember
whole
he was a feet guy,
transaction.
but I
Yes.
forgot that who the target
Yes.
was here.
Whole transactional relationship, like weird sexual, her sort of getting something, but also being taken advantage of. It's all kinds of awfulness there. And then, finally we result in this attempted assault from Sir Jasper, who is like laying all of this on Alicent when he's like, I remember you snaking your way through the hallways to power. And I was like,
right.
Or she was just like a sacrificial lamb that Otto Hightower trotted out.
Yeah.
I was like, I definitely don't remember that, but definitely Sir Jasper seems like the kind of guy to just pretend it's all a woman's fault while ignoring the giant, glaring role that Otto Hightower played in all of this, in like puppeteering a bunch of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, poor Alicent has just had a terrible, terrible, terrible go of it in any sort of romantic department, by any, I think, yardstick you use to measure romantic success.
Yeah.
Failure all around.
She's an interesting character. Again, like there's some, we've never reached the point of like what Game of Thrones was at its peak with these like powerful dueling personalities, these witty exchanges of like, I don't know, just the stuff between like Tywin and Tyrion and like getting Cersei in there, and just like some of those moments
Varys
are just
and Littlefinger.
Yes, they're so
Olenna
well
and
written.
anyone.
Yes. But we do have some complex characters in here that are so gray. They've just had to, they've done positives and negatives. And I feel like though, a person can get lost in that and maybe feel like their choices are, unmerited in some regard. But I feel like it's always been pretty on track, and I can follow where they're doing the things and why they're doing the things, which I think is a pretty good achievement. So you look at these characters, and it's like hard to like just pin them down and make a blanket statement on who they are. There's just more to it. I don't know.
Yeah. Building on that, I think a lot of the success of House of the Dragon is the misunderstandings that occur. They're small that keep turning bigger between characters, especially at the core, I think, Alicent and Rhaenyra. But it definitely has like a rippling effect when like one little event happens and somebody comes at it too late, or somebody misunderstands, or somebody just, tries to extend the olive branch, but something comes in to knock it sideways, and another character thinks like, oh, you never extended the olive branch, it was a trap. There's so much of this misunderstanding stuff that keeps like, building outward until it's so huge that these characters, end up reacting to things by making these heartbreaking choices. And you kind of move backwards and think, if only this one thing had gone right, we wouldn't be here. But I understand how you thought it was this instead of this. So you made this choice. So then they had to make that choice. And we just had to like ping pong off each other. Which I think is why I actually am okay for these first few episodes with the storyline of Alicent, surrendering King's Landing. I think it moves the story forward in a way that we don't have to spend ages and ages in battle or preparing for battle or just like slogged without any outcome or change. But also it's because I'm waiting for it. We saw a little bit at the end of this episode. It's going to go sideways. And this, kind of truce that exists right now between Alicent and Rhaenyra, I think is just going to get blown up again in even sadder ways, because these characters almost got to a point where they could resolve the past and put it behind them and make amends for what the misunderstandings. But now it's just going to all start afresh, and it's going to be even more emotionally damaging.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's my hope. It's my hope.
Okay.
Obviously, this could
You don't hope for
definitely go off the rails
the old
towards
girlfriends
the
to like
later.
get back together and like kumbaya and
Yeah. I doubt that, unfortunately.
okay.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think for now I'm envisioning kind of an emotional a payoff in a way that's going to be heartbreaking and so interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm very intrigued. I don't have a lot of predictions. The teaser, the preview for the next episode does put in thoughts in my mind. It's like it assuades some fear of like, okay, you're just gonna off Alicent. It almost looks like there's a counseling elements to it. To me, is what I saw. So
Yeah, that's what I
maybe
feel.
like, look, killed your father, but I wouldn't have this if not for you. So
Yep.
are we gonna try her on the High Council? I mean, is that gonna be for anyone else that's allegiance has been a little, hey, we still are keeping her around?
Right. It's definitely going to be complicated. I mean, both for the potential of any former Green supporters being like, "Oh, she's still here, like we still have a chance," but also for supporters of, the Blacks where it's like, aren't we punishing all the Greens? Like what are we doing showing mercy? Like we should probably just off her and make a clean sweep of all of your enemies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be complicated. It definitely fits, though, I think, with Rhaenyra's optimism and her, hopefulness of acceptance of her choices, just as she was optimistic that Jace could just be her heir and everybody would accept him.
Yeah.
I totally see that same misguided optimism and being like, Alicent's on my council now. Everybody's cool, right? And I also think it's going to get messy because, like, I think you had a note about, like, Alicent just saw that you hacked off her dad's head. Is she okay? I mean, she didn't like him. She was very upset with him for the way that she finally clearly recognized that he used her, but still her dad. Like, is she cool with that? That wasn't part of any deal.
Right. Most of my notes were about this last bit here. Well,
yes.
I didn't see that coming. Wonder what he was going to say. 2 strikes. Not bad.
Yeah, right. Not hacking. Just 2.
As pretty impressive, honestly. I think he did pretty good. How would Alicent feel about this? She's not exactly a fan, but here she is. Fuck.
Yep. I was like reading that as I was watching it. I was like, this is John's version of me. As I watch like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can tell when John's into a scene because he's like, stream of consciousness, here we go.
So yeah, it was I think that if she is resolute, if Rhaenyra is resolute and can kind of compose herself and speak with confidence to the court here, she might look, the man responsible for the treachery is dead. Like the ultimate, ultimate upheaval here, Otto Hightower, I just beheaded him.
Right. He's the master conspirator.
Right. His daughter, who's played, forced into playing his pawn since childhood, is the one responsible for ending this bloodshed.
Right.
And, she's the previous Queen Regent has brought, opened the gates for us to end the bloodshed, recognizing that I am the true heir to the throne.
Right.
Therefore, she will not be punished. She has shown her value and her loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
Like her wisdom apparent, and she's welcome on the High Council. Whatever.
Yep.
But I just feel like with the right message and confidence, that kind of thing can be sold. And where that goes then to those butting heads, you know, Allison still has family alive. You know, she's willing to give up Aegon. I think she's willing to give up Aemond too.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah. I think that was pretty much sealed all
with a
in
kiss.
that. I don't think. Yeah. I mean, she knew what she was doing when she was sending him to Harrenhal. Like, she wasn't just sending him away so
Right.
that Rhaenyra could come in. I think, you know, there was obviously an understanding that, like, there was just heavy battle and Daemon is at Harrenhal. There's no way there's not some conflict there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I think, you know, one of Allison's really redeeming moments in these couple of episodes, obviously her sticking to her guns in terms of, you know, giving up King's Landing, that was a big one. She went through a lot of trouble to make that happen. And so that was validating, I think, for her and for us as an audience in our belief in the soundness of Rhaenyra's judgment in that particular instance. But also, I think in her interaction with Helena, where she basically is like, I totally screwed up as a parent with your brothers and they're gone. I can't do anything. I totally effed it all up, but not you. I can sense that, like, you're my decent child.
Right.
And I loved her line where she says, I think now not of what you might deserve, but what might make you happy, which is basically her just admitting, like, before I was all about ambition and I was thinking about, like, oh, my children deserve the world. They deserve thrones and jewels and, you know, crowns and all of these fancy things and castles. And now I'm just like, that was me. That was all me just kind of effing it all up. That's not what Helena wants. You know, right. I have to pay attention to what you want, and what you want is out of this. And so because you're a good kid and I'm finally getting my head straight on as a parent, let's get out of here and let's do what you need. So that was just a gut punch as a parent. Just that line right there was like, oof. I totally get it.
I'm glad that there's, like, these kids aren't kids anymore, because then it would hit too hard. They're, like, older and asshole, you know?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, I kind of covered my notes mostly. Things that sort of stood out to me, you know. We covered the acting. I guess we really didn't talk about the sea battle. You know, the sea snake.
Yeah.
And
true. That is. I mean,
you know, his sons and sort of the attempt at recovering that relationship, and I think progress made there. We're left with, like, he actually lives and he gives his name to his bastard son. So yeah.
I mean, the Battle of the Gullet was so impressive. It was madness at the beginning, just sheer, when they actually encountered each other, just chaos everywhere. I was like, holy cow, the visuals here are so overwhelming. And I feel like they knew how to play it between those huge, stunning, like, sprawling fights between so many different vessels. And then, you know, focusing in on Corlys and that, like, nail-biting ride through the dragon's teeth, trying to lose Lohar. And then that epic confrontation between him and her. But then, you know, he's lost. So Alan comes in and has to finish her off. And you see, like, he clearly has conflicting feelings. He's like, oh my God, father. But also, like, oh my God, like, am I going to lose him? I don't know. Maybe I lost him. And it takes, I think, that conversation with Bela. Surprise, surprise. I thought theirs was a really nice moment in episode 2 where they do some healing without Corlys. And they just sort of, like, come together and have, like, a softer moment as a family and being like, you know, I'm sorry your childhood was so rough because of my family, but you are my family. And I think we're all finally recognizing that. and we're sorry for the time that's been stolen from us and the lack of respect that you got. So I think the kind of like softening from Bela goes a ways towards an easier moment when they first find Corlys, and then when Corlys is like, you know, I'm giving you my name if it means something to you, because I have nothing else for you, but I want you to have something. I think Bela kind of eases Alan into that moment.
Could the pessimist be like, well, his wife's dead, so
Totally. I mean, I was thinking that even as
now,
I was saying it, I was like, I mean, it's so little, so late, you
yeah,
know, and it's obviously easier to do now that you don't have a house, you don't have treasure. I mean, maybe there's something, you know, in the wreckage of Driftmark. But yeah, that you don't have anything, your wife is gone, the rest of your family is, you know, scattered. You only have your two granddaughters, like, and now you throw Alan your name.
well, because Bela was kind of
May feel a little
the
shabby.
way, you know, to probably not remind his wife, Raina. No, is that her name? I forgot what his wife's name was exactly. It was
Renice?
Renice, yes. You know, now that because to not remind her of your infidelity, you're out the picture. And yeah. So I mean, look, I think he can understand the complication here, especially given the time. You know, again, looking at it from our standpoint today, it's far less accepting. I think for a lot of people at that point, you know, it's like it's the same as the witch asking for Harrenhal. What's your name and title, and what, you know, like who are you? You know, of course you helped us. Thank you, peasant. But like, what? So it's when blood and name and honor and all, you know, matters so much. Not that it's nice and good, but not unexpected. And so
Yeah.
I like even though it's circumstantially more convenient now, it's better than not. And clearly there is a respect, and has been a respect there. You know,
Yeah.
it's just he was hoping that we could, you know, have this relationship of respect, and you know what I'm doing, you know why I'm doing it. But that was never good enough for Alan. So he's too proud himself for that. So
yeah, it kind of feels like you know, this situation between Corlys and Alan is the resolution we never got in Game of Thrones with Jon Snow and Ned Stark. I mean, obviously we have to set aside that like Jon later learns he isn't Ned's, you know, but in the beginning when we all think he is, and we, you know, can see that same desire from Jon Snow to just have the Stark name. That's what I want. And Ned won't give it to him out of respect for Catelyn. You know, it's the same situation, only here, you know, we're getting a very kind of belated resolution to all of that, and a little bit of peace there.
Yeah. So how about that with the Starks, you know? You got the Northerners to show up, and it's like Daemon's like, we have more lions to hunt, and
I love that guy. I can't remember his name right now. It's totally escaping me. But I love him. He's Cicero in Gladiator, and he's in Sons of Anarchy. He's Chibs. God, I can almost see his name, but I love that guy. He's so much fun.
I was going to say, there's like a couple people kind of stand out as sort of, and not that this is new for Game of Thrones, I guess, but he is a familiar face. Yeah. And so is who's the the dickwad that's like real snooty. Is he what's the
That's a lot
family
of
for him
people.
anyways? Yeah. No, he was like he has had to like give himself some perfume in the nostril when the messenger was coming. Is it
Yes.
Jamie someone in real life? The actor.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's like a known
Um,
guy. And I don't know if he is a he's not Tully. I don't
no, I
remember
don't
what
think
house he
so.
is. But he shows up in the
Tommy
previews.
Flanagan. Tommy Flanagan is the guy I'm
Oh,
trying to
there you
think
go.
of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So just a few known other faces, you know.
Yes,
Because
I've
like
seen
in the
his face
original
before,
Game
and
of
I'm gonna
Thrones,
think of it.
it was really obvious. It was obviously Sean Bean. It was like that's the guy. He's the you
Right.
know. And then you get in deeper, and it's like these other well-respected actors, but no one that was necessarily that recognizable to a general audience. And I think some of these faces are a little more like, oh, even if you don't know where, you've seen that person. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
interesting. But I gotta appreciate Stark. You know, okay. This, you know, we certainly if there's more on the episodes, you've got, you know, we got a little of the battle, the craziness.
Yes. I have one more thing. Because I didn't mention it when we were talking about the midwife slash witch of Harrenhal. The other crazy choice that I'm not getting out of her this season is her visiting the dragon seeds and bringing that pumpkin guy, and she like freaks them all out when they're waiting for Vagar, and she like shows up and there's that like creepy thing, and they're like, "Wow, we got to get out of here." And I was like, "What is that? What? Why?" I mean, I don't like this crew. I don't like them together. Them sitting around the campfire and telling the world's most boring stories was whatever. And Ulf is such like a whiny little baby that he too, like Kristen, the sooner he gets off my screen, the happier I'll be. But I didn't understand what that was in that moment. I was so lost as to why she was scaring them and what that creepy creature was doing. Because yeah, I mean, so far I'm not really loving Ulf. He's definitely like the classic, like drunkard, coward, you know, always looking to like shift responsibility to somebody else, always has excuses for like, oh, I didn't do the thing because I'm scared or because this crazy thing happened. And I enjoyed Damon kind of dressing them all down and being like, no, I don't require your thoughts. I don't require your opinions. You just do what you're told, and I have no other use for you. But yeah, I didn't understand that sequence at all.
Yeah. You're right. I wouldn't normally, I think, appreciate as much. Maybe it says something about us that we do, like Damon, like you say, dressing them down. Because I enjoyed that as well. It's like, well, time, you know, I'm just tired of your antics. And
tired of your whining.
Yeah, it's like you were living in shit, and you know, just like a horrible existence with all the other peasants. Now you have a dragon, you know, and I'm not.
And he doesn't even seem to care.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen him interact with Silverwing? Like, does he care about his dragon?
That's a good point. That dragon's gonna sense that, right?
Yeah,
I think. So I was hoping he would come to faster, you know, because that kind of character I think is fine. He's like sort of bragging in the pub and all this sort of thing, you know, being boisterous about things, and yeah, you're that kind of guy. But then to like come to your senses, and it's like, oh no, there's a good guy, there's a courageous guy actually in there that's gonna do his duty now, and we're not to that point. I don't know if it's going to get there or what's going to happen, but the faster we do and find his worth or he dies, the better.
Yes, he has been very disappointing, and I think what I am worried about is, I mean, I don't generally write off a character too fast, but I kind of have. Like, I'm kind of okay if he just ends up being like a terrible disappointment, a super coward, and I don't care about him, and he just
Aw.
dies. I'm worried because I feel like he's going to drag Hugh with him, and I actually like Hugh. He seems like he might have more potential to be of value, like a courageous fighter, wanting to prove himself. He's got a family, so I don't know, biased. I kind of like him a little more. So I'm kind of worried that Ulf is going to drag Hugh down with him because he seems like he's been able to convince, Hugh, like, oh, this place is crazy. Let's just abandon our post.
Mhm.
So I'm worried that he could continue to pull Hugh in a direction that makes me disappointed in his character. Because I'm already
Right.
disappointed in Ulf. And if he dies, I don't care. But
Yeah, I agree. Because
yeah.
like Hugh was incorporated into this little talk that Damon had, but clearly the ire was placed more directly on Ulf, and
Right.
deservedly so. But you're right.
Right.
Like that, we've seen that. I just said his name. You just said his name.
Hugh?
Hugh has more integrity, and it would be nice to see like this sort of workout, and for that to show some fruit, and he can play an important role or something. So
Yeah, this is, I mean, speaking of what you said earlier, this is another one of Rhaenyra's big gambles. And I'd love to see a better payoff for it.
Yep.
Because so far I only trust one of the three.
Okay.
And I'm wavering on Hugh. I was strong for him at first, and now I'm wavering, and I don't want to.
Yep. Luna the Alchemist, which is a cool name. It says nice stream. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's kind
the
words.
Alchemist. Is the Alchemist in real life, or I think Full Metal Alchemist, and then I think Luna Lovegood. Luna Lovegood could be kind of an alchemist, in the magic world there. So
true. Her father does speak of alchemy.
And her father in the movies is Otto Hightower.
Hey, full circle.
Yep.
Look at us making connections.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
He is.
This show is full of them. What do you know? Like, let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. So again, if there's other things we want to talk about the show, that's fine. But it just
I think I got through everything.
About, is there a house, a family that you either like the most or relate to the most in the Westerosi landscape universe?
That's a great question. I mean, across like everything.
Yeah. I mean, because the great houses and the others, they exist throughout three different series now at this point.
I mean, I think it's really a hard thing not to like the Starks on the whole. I mean, they've obviously played a really minor role in Hot D, but now we've got Tommy Flanagan at the head of the Starks hunting down Lannisters with Daemon and just having one big rollicking war party. So yeah, I mean, hard not to feel like they're choosing our as an audience, our right side every time, the side that we're rooting for. So yeah, I mean, hard not to like the Starks. Also hard not to like the Mormonts. Both older in Jorah for a majority of the time, and younger Lyanna.
Right.
They have some pretty epic moments in our original Game of Thrones. And I think they've got a more minor, but still they're like the Starks in Hot D, playing minor but good supporting roles for the Blacks here. So everybody else is a little more complicated, I think.
Okay. All right. It's fair. I mean, I feel like, it's it's unfair. We just brought up Potter. We can say in Game of Thrones world, we think it's like the Starks are Gryffindor and the Targaryens are Slytherin,
Mhm.
and so everybody's favorite houses are going to be one of them or something. And but
Which is
I am
hilarious since like the Lannisters are the lions with the like red and gold banner, but
yeah,
yet
that's true.
they're the bad guys.
Well,
I mean,
maybe
mostly.
that's more apt.
Obviously, we have our Tyrion to root for, but everybody else.
Yeah. And other characters that maybe not great but are awesome, if that makes sense. Maybe not good people, but they're awesome.
Speaking of other characters that aren't of a family but are awesome, I did have to check twice during that post Battle of the Gullet song that is being composed within the heat of victory, where Damon is singing and our Stark guy is singing, and and that woman was singing for like a line of that, like a little couple lines. I thought that was Gwendolyn Christie, and they had just like made her up differently. Her voice sounded so much like her. I had to go back and rewatch it to make sure that wasn't her. Okay. Because I was like, that could be like the really fun Easter egg to like dress her up in like, a dark brown wig and put some face paint on her to mask that it's her. But yeah, so I thought that was Gwendolyn Christie. So yeah, Brienne of Tarth, bringing that back around. Obviously House Tarth isn't represented fully in Game of Thrones, but Brienne is, and she's awesome. So.
Well, so I guess it's sort of like in Lord of the Rings, I guess I'm a hobbit, right? I'm about here, whatever. I got to be a hobbit, even though that's maybe not what I like prefer. It's like, smoking and ale and sleeping in,
eating,
and family
reading,
and party.
gardening.
Yeah, exactly.
Having big parties.
Can't complain. In Game of Thrones, I feel like Stark, given our like geographical affiliations, Stark, and then they also have like a fierce independence, the North, so I'm kind of on board with that. But inside me, I like the Baratheons. I'm a Baratheon.
Solid.
So, in Game of Thrones, we're introduced to Baratheon as the king, and I kind of just love him.
I mean, Robert's awesome. I'm assuming you're like saying true Baratheons and excluding like Joffrey, since he actually isn't any Baratheon at all. Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure, because obviously his name is
Baratheon in name only. Yes.
Yes.
No.
So so like Robert, Gendry.
Yes, particularly two people. One is Robert, who maybe at the initial viewing I didn't think so much of, but now I kind of just really love him. Like the laugh, the
Mark
sort
Addy,
of like
great actor.
The sort of just look at this shit. Like I didn't really want this. But I got it, and it's not what I want. I'm not happy in my marriage. That's not the thing I want. It's just like, this is all a system that I'm part of. It sucks. I'm going to drink and hunt and whatever,
Yeah.
And
get what enjoyment I can out of this miserable scenario that I didn't ask for.
He's just an enjoyable character.
He's like, he really is, and he's such a great accidental king, because like definitely nobody went to war to put him on the throne. Right. They went to war obviously for different reasons, and then afterwards they were like, crap, somebody's got to be king. We can't agree on this person. We can't agree on this person. Like, maybe we can all agree on Robert Baratheon. And that's how he became king. Like, we can just sort of coalesce around him. He seems like a cool guy. Led the battles. The common people will think he's a war hero. Sure.
Yep. And then the other, you don't know yet because you haven't watched A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
True.
And when you watch A Night of Seven Kingdoms, there's another character in there that's like, yes, this is Baratheon to me. This is in the same sort of vein. I'm all about it. And
Solid.
he's this actor that I didn't recognize at all. He's in Mobland, does crazy shit in there. And he's kind of a crazy guy in here. So I'm, yeah, I have a soft spot for Baratheon. Yeah.
I think if I have a soft spot or a warm fondness, it would probably be for the Tyrells. I mean, Olenna is everything I could ever hope to be as I grow older. And Marjorie is smart,
smoking, and like knows where to go. Fierce. She's been trained right,
but also like yes, definitely like a thinker and a bit of a manipulator, but also like definitely a kinder person than many we see in Game of Thrones. So like a little bit of both. There's some balance to her.
She is totally a manipulator, but with a conscience. She's still like she still has some yes. I mean, I totally agree. Like if they were, and I was gonna say if they're more prominently featured, but they really are in Game of Thrones. Like they're crucial. So I agree. Like that's a strong maybe second for me.
Even Loras for a while before he just totally obviously folds into the whole like Sparrow nonsense. He's a fun character for a while. He's not who I would have. Sorry?
Is that Iron Fist? That's who we're talking, right?
The guy who's sleeping with Renly at the beginning and is Marjorie's brother. And he's promised to Sansa, and then that like falls apart. And then he and Cersei are supposed to marry each other.
I don't know that I remember.
You'll remember. Here, I'll pull up a picture. It's one of my favorite moments when like Tywin is making all of these arrangements and Cersei's laughing at Tyrion having to marry Sansa and like all of this other stuff is happening. And Tywin's like, what the fuck are you laughing about? You're going to marry Loras. And she's like, what? Just couldn't have been more shocked if Tywin reached across the table and slapped her in the face.
You can share it on stream here if you pull it up on the computer.
Sorry, I will do that.
Okay, so yeah, it's a couple, but you know, I'm judging Baratheon on a couple cool people. So how is Tyrell can judge on a couple people as well. We can't all have, you know, tons of them. I have I like a lot of them for different reasons, for sure. You know, I still like Lannisters because Tywin is so smart. You know, obviously Tyrion is fun and clever, but Tywin is just like, I loved when he came in and he just put okay, how do I say yes to this? Here we go. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Iron Fist.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you were thinking. So I was thinking you were trying to say Iron Fist from like that was his nickname in this show, but you were talking about his other show.
Yeah. Yep.
His Marvel show. Yeah. My bad. So yeah. So that is Loras, and then he gets. Where does he? Oh, did they not show another picture of him? Bummer. He definitely gets
into the cult.
Yes, into the cult.
We have to do Andrew. We have to do a rewatch of Game of Thrones sometime.
We really do, right?
You know, because there's a lot to talk about there, and you know, we weren't doing this really when Game of Thrones itself was a thing. Was the first season of House of the Dragon? Maybe it feels it was maybe one of the earlier shows we covered here. I don't know. Maybe not.
Oh, maybe. I was trying to figure out I'm still trying to figure out like if I can find Loras when he totally Oh yeah,
There he is.
there he
There
is
he
when he
is.
gets totally different.
Yep. And there's so much.
That's when he becomes like unfun, but like not his fault. The whole cult is obviously not great. But yeah, Sir Loras changes greatly. He's not like the same person, so I don't count him as a Tyrell anymore. So
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing.
Hmm.
So yeah, so to me, the Tyrells are fun. Obviously, like you said, the Lannisters have their own moments. Tyrion is great. Tywin is a master genius. Jaime and Cersei suck, but what are you going to do about that?
Well, I thought about getting like a box set of Game of Thrones, but like they always do a box set after they used to after each season came out, basically. So
Sure.
I would find one that was seasons 1 through 5, I think, because I think that's where we've talked. Like 1 through 5 are solid. Like that's
maybe a little into 6. But it's you can see it going off the rails in 6. You know what I mean? And like 6 has moments, but you're like, ooh, like you can see where it's coming unhinged.
There are moments all the way through to me. Like
sure.
there's
I just
great things. Yeah.
1 through 5 is like universally solid, and then 6 is so much more like back and forth, and then 7 and 8 are like held together by moments.
I still want like an ultimate project. And maybe it's like next year, the year in between, a year in between this and the last season of House of Dragon, or maybe it's a goal for when House of Dragon's all wrapped up or something like that. To rewatch Game of Thrones, cover it on the stream, go through season 5, and then we take time to come up how we independently would wrap up the series our own way.
Sure.
And like, because that's the challenge. How do you do it when there's nothing there for you? What's more satisfying? And it had to be all the bullet points, and then we can share our ideas, and then we can feed those ideas to AI and see what it thinks and what it would present.
Sure. See who's close.
I think that'd be fun. It would be fun not only to rewatch the show, and to get all those memories back and like see things we didn't see before, but then also creatively to like sit and ponder, and figure out, because like I did that with Star Wars, like where I would go with Star Wars. But I feel like it would take longer with Game of Thrones, honestly, to really.
It would. I mean, there's so many people and there's so many, very big plot points. Game of Thrones obviously couldn't wrap them all up, so some of them just got left. So it's, how many of them do you pick up? All of them? Most of them?
Yeah.
Do you go Game of Thrones style and just pick up some? Who knows?
Right.
But I do agree that would be really fun, because actually I was clicking through social media today and a reel came up, and it was like it was of Cersei and Marjorie after Joffrey dies and Tommen gets on the throne, and Cersei for like a brief second is like, Joffrey was terrible. My son was awful. He was, I loved him, but he was so bad. But Tommen's good, and Marjorie, you should marry him because I think you can help him. And it was like, whoa, I forgot this like brief moment of humanity that Cersei had throughout all of her suckiness.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't think of that either.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like a random moment that I completely had forgotten about.
Yep.
Completely forgot that she was ever in favor of Marjorie and her marriage to Tommen.
Yep. Okay. Well, the last bits of Game of Thrones really killed my passion for it. And I have to say, I'm pretty surprised that, House of the Dragon and then for sure A Night of the Seven Kingdoms really kind of brought it back. And it's pretty impressive. It does what some other Star Wars stuff has done. It's like managed to be good enough and separate enough that I can enjoy it and be excited. And, you know, you can see that there is a lot of passion yet for the good days of Game of Thrones. You know, it's almost a Star Wars element that way. And so, yeah, it's fun for this to have the sidetrack. And I'm excited to see what comes in future House of the Dragon here. I hope they can manage Night of the Seven Kingdoms without too much of a delay, because I heard they had to move set for weather reasons. It was gonna be delayed there. And even though they're changing a lot of stuff from the books in this, and that is potentially unfortunate, it really makes me want to read the book. So I don't think I'll ever read A Song of Ice and Fire, being it's incomplete, but the completed works. So this stuff with that I know the Seven Kingdoms is based upon, and then this Fire and Blood stuff. I'm excited. I want to read that as well. So
yeah, for sure.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's been a Popcast Live, kind of a Popcast on the Rocks retrofitted into a Popcast Live, so we can keep going on this House of the Dragon train here. We didn't have our normal sort of like, what are the drink holidays, what are we watching, all that sort of thing. We'll be back with that next time. It's a lot of great stuff coming up here. We need to, on the anime show, Ohio Anime, talk about probably Frieren, being we just concluded our discussion on season 2 of Hell's Paradise. So we have season 2 of Frieren to talk about before other crazy stuff happens there. So if you're just on YouTube, you can search out Ohio Anime. Otherwise, those things will show up in your feed on other sources and on podcast directories on the Popcasts on the Rocks channel. The on the regular podcasts, you know, look forward to more House of the Dragon as that continues on, but also tomorrow, the first 3 episodes of X-Men 97 season 2 premiere. So it's going to be an interesting, crazy time here. The plan potentially is to manage an episode, a regular episode that covers an episode of Hot D and an episode of X-Men 97. But this 3-episode premiere of X-Men 97 may warrant its own thing. We'll have to see how we can fit it in. So anyways, those are the things we're presently working on.
And we've got a card unboxing to finish.
It's right here. I was thinking earlier, it's like if things wrap up here earlier, we can like open a few more packs, but I'm like, that's not going to happen.
So much
with all this stuff going on, it's not going to happen.
So much to talk about. Yeah. These, like I said, these first 2 episodes just came in real hot.
Yep.
So much.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We had Luna the Alchemist in chat. Thank you for being here. MJ, thank you for being here. Glad things are going well. Appreciate it. I don't know if MJ is going to get back to streaming ever, but she does have a channel. Killing the Flower, they wrote our theme song for the main show, Popcast on the Rocks. That's Killing the Flower. You can find them on music streaming services. Mike Bryant Racing, you want racing content, real life race car driver, you can follow him. Peter J. Gilbertson, his books are available on Amazon.com. And Chief's Bourbon Cabinet on Instagram and YouTube if you need some bourbon recommendations. So that's what we got for tonight. Thanks, Andrea, for peer pressuring me into consuming more alcohol. I didn't need more of it.
Anytime.
Couldn't let you drink alone.
I appreciate that. Cheers, buddy.
Yep. All right. See everybody later. Bye.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.